Almost 4,000 kilometers of trip around the Iceland, 2 weeks of recording, 2 terabytes of footage and 9 hours of raw video. And now we're here. Hi, my name is Kamil and I want to welcome you on the Shot by Reality channel. I want to take you behind the scenes of my cinematic Iceland series. In this video, I'm going to show you the practical side of recording in Iceland and also color grading and editing workflow in DaVinci Resolve. So just to give you a quick context, my wife and I went to the 2-week trip to Iceland just for a vacation, but it turned out that I've made the biggest project of my life in the process. So we've been following the ring road around the whole Iceland and also included Westfjords so we can feel the wilderness more. I think that on this trip I've experienced the most diverse landscapes of all my life. We've been through glaciers, waterfalls, sulfur fields, lava fields, unearthly landscapes, I don't know, largest bird cliffs in the Europe, or just amazing places, black sand beaches. If you want a separate video about this topic, about the places on Iceland that I recommend, please write in the comments. So maybe before we even jump to the practical process of recording, I'm going to tell you how this idea even came up. I've always been curious about the world and I wanted to visit Iceland to see its beautiful nature and the wilderness that I could experience there. We went there for holidays and we wanted just to explore it. I've also took my camera to record it because I love doing it just for the passion. I didn't plan to do any project, but in the middle of the trip I realized that that's what I want to do in my life, and that was the moment that just struck me, and I immediately had a lot of plans, a lot of visions in my head that I should create it and I should go for it. It's just this one chance. So I just continued recording, but now with the cinematic series in mind. Thinking about the name of the channel wasn't hard at all, because it's not just a brand name, Shot by Reality, it's also the motto that I followed when I recorded my videos. So first, I was really worried because I'm not professional in recording. I was really worried that I won't be able to show the Iceland in its full beauty. I didn't know how to make the shots to be appealing. I didn't know any of it, but I realized that if I follow the rule that I let the reality unfold itself, the scenes were the best that I could achieve. So now I know that my films are the best when I let them be shot by reality. So a lot of recording looked like this, that I just focused on what I want to show in the scene, what angle should I use, what will be the sequence, and later I just let it roll in the silence, and I knew that every grass, every leaf on the tree will play its story and it will show emotions, it will show passion, and it will show the beauty of the land itself. So how was recording on Iceland? It was great. It was sometimes really challenging because of high winds, because of some dust storms, because you had to clean those lenses all the time to have a clear lens, to have a good footage. You have to think about every detail. It gave me a lot of experience. It let me know my gear really well. And talking about the gear, it was just one camera, one zoom lens, and some essentials like tripod and the filters. Everything that I've used on this trip fits in this bag, apart from tripod, of course. And if you're more interested in the gear I used, you can click here, and next week there will be a video about my gear on Iceland. Of course, it's not always so easy to record in the wild conditions, and one of the most memorable challenges that I had was, for example, dealing with a lot of fog. For example, in the Detti Falls waterfall, I thought that okay, we just don't have the waterfall from the front because there was a lot of mist. But I had to trust the process, and it's one of the iconic parts of Iceland. Apart from shot by reality, or let your films be shot by reality, I have trust the process, because the B-RAW footage that comes from the cinema camera will make it work. Just trust it and record it anyways. It was one of my biggest tips, and I had a problem to see the waterfall. The camera recorded it, so after color grading it was there. I was really worried that some of the footage will not look that as good as in the reality, but after post-production it looked really well. So how did it look in practice? The whole 2 weeks were very intense, and we've been waking up early, taking our car and just going for the adventure. We were recording everywhere for at least a couple minutes, but it was also like 1, 2, 3 hours on the location. On the Latrabjarg cliffs, the biggest bird cliffs in Europe, we've been like 4 or 5 hours just to make the shots, and I know that if I spent 1 week there, I could make much greater shots, but of course you work with what you have. So we've been just stopping for food, we've been using like a stove burner, and it helped us to minimize the time that we spent on just going to the restaurants or relaxing. It was more of intense working trips, but it was well worth it when I saw the results. Okay, so we're back from Iceland, and now what? The hardest part is done, yeah? No, not really. The editing process and post-production actually turned out to be much harder, or maybe time-consuming, than those 2 weeks of intense recording, because I didn't expect that it will take so long. I had over 9 hours of footage. I also thought about actually dealing with all this process. I wanted to find the best workflow, and I think that I did. First, I categorized the videos into the usable and unusable scenes. While working on 9 hours, you have to do it. I think you have to divide it to categories, folders. I divided it to the folders with animals, with waterfalls, with landscapes, with some unearthly vibes. Later, I flagged the better and worse scenes, so I could have an easier time in the future. When I want to make the short video, I could just select the best scenes that I've chose, and it will work. And then came the most, I think, exhausting process, that was color grading. It was great. It made the scenes appear in its full beauty, but it was very time consuming for me. I think it took around 3 weeks, and it was, or maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and it was the most time consuming part of all filmmaking. But when I did it, I saw that, oh wow, this footage looks really good, and it's really good that I just committed to it and made this project, because it was well worth it. Later I came to making the timelines. First, I made the timeline of the main movie, so I could see all the footage in the longest possible sequences, so I could know what I'm working with. And later, when I made this timeline, I started making other timelines of those other versions, so the version that it's shorter, the version with animals, with puffins, so I could use the footage in all different kind of ways. The last step was music and sound effects. It also took quite a long time, because I wanted to make the music match the cuts in the scenes and just to make it more emotional. It took some time. After the part with music, I leveled the volumes and stabilized the footage that is too shaky. And it was basically it. I started to render it, later compressed it with Handbrake, not in the DaVinci Resolve. And here we are right now, behind the scenes. The footage is ready. I think that this all post-production process was well worth it, because now I'm really happy with the footage that I achieved, but it was a lot of work. And that's why I'm even more happy to share it with you right here. If you're more interested in the editing process, you can click here, and I'll be making a video soon about this topic. I want to also share with you one of my proudest moments that I experienced. So I think it was a whole story with Puffins. They were great. They were very curious. They were not scared of anybody. So that was the reason that I could go that close. I don't have a telephoto lens, so all the footage from Puffins was like shot from 2 meters, maybe 3 meters. It was a very great experience, and then I could feel that I really love doing it. I could sit there for a month and wait for the perfect situations, and I hope I'll have a chance to record Puffins in the future, because I really loved it. And that's it for behind the scenes look at how my Iceland films were made. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it and would like to support me, feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, leave the comment down below, and if you would like to explore more, click here to see my next video. And remember, let your films be shot by reality.